Right. Hi. So, um, a new reality. The map, right? We have to look at different maps. You want to go from somewhere, like from one place, one country to another. You're looking at the world map. It looks all straightforward, you know, but it's all small, you know. So it might look straightforward, but actually, when you actually go to sort of like plan your trip, if you're going overland, say, you need to look at other maps. You need to look at smaller maps. You might need to look at a road map, for example, so that you can get to the town or city or airport or port that you want to go to, you know, so that you can travel to your next country. So then you might want once you've looked at the road map to get to the town you want to get to, then you might need to look at the actual map of the town, like a smaller map, or, you know, a more detailed map to get to where you want to get to the port or the airport or something. I know nowadays you can do it all on your smartphone. But the point is, it's all still different maps, right? So likewise, when you go to your new country, or, you know, you cross the channel, you know, you get a boat to go to another country or something. You need more maps, but these are just like physical maps. There's also other types of maps. There's like spoken word maps, you know, people telling you what the people are actually like. It's all very well having a map of a place, you know, like a road map or a street map of a town, you know, or a city or something. But, you know, what about the people that live in the different parts of the town? You know, what sort of people live there? You know, where do you go to get the, you know, to meet the right people that you want to meet? You know, what places do you avoid? You know, what are the dangers? What are the pitfalls? So there's other types of maps. It's not just physical maps. It's like mental, spoken, emotional, psychological maps, you know, and people maps, feeling maps. So one of the things about doing the work is that what I've realized is that I've had to change my maps. I'm having to get more detailed maps. So, you know, I've gone through this point of thinking, all right, and I want to go to this place, right? And 5 years has gone by, and I'm sort of feel like I'm kind of gradually getting there, but I'm not sure I want to. The closer I get to this place, the more I'm thinking, well, there's other options now. What about while I'm traveling? I might as well go and experience such and such a place, you know. So I'm going to change my map. You know, I'm going to have a different map. So, like, I'll start thinking for the next 5 years. I want to be looking at slightly different things. I want to be looking at certain other areas. I can still take me in the direction I want to go, but can also, like, I can explore other areas, you know, that's going to open up more doorways, more possibilities, more avenues for me to explore, you know, but still taking me in roughly the right direction as well. So on the one hand, I can think, well, I'm not doing as well as I wanted to do. But on the other hand, I can think, well, actually, I'm doing better than I thought I was going to do, because there's all these other opportunities have opened up, you know. So that's kind of how it looks, you know. It's like, you know, there's probably going to be people that think, oh, you know, Rank Emperor, you just failed. You couldn't do the work. You couldn't handle it. You're not making any progress. But I prefer to think that, you know, I have made progress. It's just not necessarily exactly what I set out to do, but I'm taking that into consideration. That's part of doing the work. You know, you can't necessarily know what the future holds, you know. So it's good to keep an open mind. And the fact that I'm still doing the work, I'm still like enthusiastic about it, and it's all opening up. It's sort of like it's a bigger thing than I thought it was. You know, there's more stuff here than I thought there was. I don't want to rush it. You know, I'm quite happy just doing the work day by day. You know, just taking my time, eking out a bit of like these different possibilities. Now, what's his name? Robert Anton Wilson talks about reality maps. Now, I'm interested in Robert Anton Wilson. You know, he come up with a lot of interesting stuff, but I'll quickly talk about his my criticism of him, and that is about belief. You know, he said that belief is the death of intelligence. Now, I would say that actually belief is a weapon in your arsenal when you're doing the work. You know, depending on what you believe will make a difference into your reality map. You know, your belief will influence your map of reality. Now, Robert Anton Wilson talks about maps of reality, but he doesn't really go into how to organize your map of reality. And I think the missing link in his little, you know, chink in his armor of his philosophy is that you have to marry belief with your map of reality. You know, the two go together, you know. So if you've got like a maybe attitude, then everything's just going to fizzle out, and it's just sort of like it won't have its strong integrity, your reality map. So hence he didn't live a long time, you know. Probably got liver cancer and died in his 70s, you know, like most of these people do. So yeah, my view is that what you believe is going to affect your map of reality, and that's your map of reality will lead to your reality. You know, and it's also implicit that you're going to have to keep changing your map. You're going to have to change your map of reality. It's going to have to revolve as you're traveling, as you're doing the work. Doing the work is like a pilgrimage, you know. So you're traveling. It's a traveling thing. You're changing all the time. You're having to learn new ways of speaking and thinking. So I like to think that belief is an integral part of this. You know, belief is going to define how the integrity of your map of reality. And your map of reality, because it's always changing, it's an evolving thing. It's taking you to your destination, and your destination is also an intrinsic part of your map of reality, because why would you need a map of reality if you didn't have a destination? So you've got to have a destination, and you're still your destiny, right? But your destiny can also be an unfolding thing. You know, it doesn't have to be a certain place and time. You can extend it rather than being a certain place and time. Your actual journey can be your destiny, and that journey can be indefinite. There's no need for it to have like a specific destination. The actual journey itself can be the destination. So what you're doing here with the work is you're opening up this whole new dimension. The work is about you're sort of doing this menial stuff, you know, learning how to sort of like stay healthy, look after your body, look after your emotions, get your mind working properly, expand your mind, know what's going out there on in the world, you know what's happening, you know, develop a sort of positive, self-sustaining spiritual aspect as well that is growing and evolving, and align all these things together. That's what doing the work's about, and that's the journey. You know, it's you know, about self-transformation, and there is no like end. You know, there is no end to it. You know, it's an ongoing thing. It's like you're developing your perfection as much as you can. Obviously within reason. You're not going to actually attain complete and utter perfection, but you can aim towards it. You know, you can sort of like perfect your life in many different ways and keep perfecting it. There's no ends to all the things that you can do, and that's what's so great about it. You know, doing the work is a kind of end in itself. You know, it's work. It takes a long time, but the more you get into it, the more benefits you get from it. I talked about this when I actually done the videos to the work about 5 years ago. So I talked about how one of the ways of doing the work, you know, in terms of the Saturn sphere, you're going to be looking at kind of like looking at like weather and a garden. You know, you're like a gardener. You know, you're not looking at instant results. You're building up your garden over years and years. It's a lifetime's work. You know, that's what it is. And so there is no ends to the work. It just goes on and on and on. I know it's a hard sell, but the thing is, right, that, you know, I don't care, because I'm already, you know, enjoying it and lapping it up. You know, I'm not interested in selling it to people. I mean, I am, because I make all these videos about it, but the thing is, people have already demonstrated the work. You know, there's all these demonstrations of it. People are always demonstrating the work. They're doing it all the time. You can look at it, you know, all online, on movies, in music, you know, everywhere. There's signposts telling you where the direction is to do the work. You know, the religions, they've got loads of information about it. The mythologies, history, you know, conspiracy theories, it's all out there. You know, there's just constant information. So I don't have to make any more videos about it, really. I just like, I talk about it because to me, it's the only thing to talk about. When I watch movies and read books and stuff, I see the same thing. It's all about the work. Everything's about the work. You know, the zombie movies, the Dracula movies, the vampire movies, Star Trek, you know, the Matrix films, but more, you know, even things like Apocalypse Now, you know, just I don't watch all that many movies, you know, so I'm looking at older movies. Stepford Wives, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, loads of sci-fi, the Alien movies, Terminator, you know. These things are all about the work. Alice in Wonderland, Lord of the Rings, you know, it's just everywhere. You know, even politics, you know, understanding politics and watching the news broadcasts, it's like it's a work in progress. You know, learning what these people are actually saying, how they're distracting people. They're like a sort of circus troupe, you know, entertaining the masses. And doing all these sort of like high wire acts and taming lions and stuff, you know, and it's all trickery, it's all showmanship, you know. And the media, you know, how to dodge through all the media and all the sort of propaganda. It's like swimming a current full of sharks, you know, and stinging jellyfish and stuff, you know. It's all out there, it's all trying to get you. It's an amazing sort of journey into a sort of scary kind of paradise, but the fact that it's a scary paradise just makes it all the more better, you know. That's what I think, you know. Doing the work, it's like finding out that you're already in paradise, you know, and it's just a matter of getting your head around it and deciding that you actually deserve this paradise. You know, it's been made for you personally. You know. You are the hero of this story, this adventure. Ah, okay. Well, I don't know why the oh, hang on. Let me just try that again. Does that switch it on? I don't know if I put the top chat on. Let me just put something on. If I just sort of go, hello. Oh yeah, there it is. So you can. Oh, maybe it wasn't on before. I see people are starting to leave now. I've put this top chat on, so you don't have to sort of comment at all. Anyway, yeah, I haven't got much to say now. It's like I think that's about it for today. I don't want to frighten anyone else anymore. What was I talking about again? Yeah, the work and that's the other thing about the work. It's like it frightens people. I think, you know, because there's this thing. I've talked about it before. It's like when you do the work, you have to have a look at yourself. But the thing is, not just yourself. You have to look at other people because you are defined in a lot of ways by other people. So you have to look at them as well to understand who you are and what you look like. And so it goes on. You know, the work goes on because I have to look at myself and I have to look at these other people and I think, why am I hanging around with a real bunch of arseholes? And I don't mean you guys on YouTube. I'm talking about my other people, like in my physical life, outside of the internet. So why was I hanging around with all these idiots, you know, and arseholes? And it's a difficult one because you think, well, was it karma? Was I just born into all this stuff for some reason? Did I deserve it? You know, it's like, yeah, you know, you can claw your way out of this. It's like you can use intellectual reasoning to think, no, I'm better than this. I'm gonna do the work, you know. And part of the work does mean like closing yourself off from people. Carlos Castaneda's books, he talks about this. You know, I think in one of his early books, he's saying that he's like walking across town, and he sees someone he knows, he's known for a long time, you know, and the guy tries to wave into him, and he has to run down like a little side street to escape him, you know, and you know, it says in the Bible you can't be a real Christian unless you hate your family and stuff, and I think it's like that, you know. It's like you get born into this world, you get born into the matrix, and to escape it, you can't keep your attachments. You have to let go of all your attachments to things that have kept you, that you've got used to, you've become habituated to in the matrix, you know. So you have to sort of let go of those things, you know, which might include your family, at least temporarily. I think that's partly what the book of Job is about, you know. It's obviously symbolic. There's too much stuff in there that is symbolic, you know. The numbers, the 3000s and 300s and 700s and 7000s and what have you, of this and that, and you know, it just connects with like Solomon, the Book of Solomon, or I forgot which book it is now. It's there probably isn't a Book of Solomon in the Bible, but I don't know. Anyway, they're talking about how he is had 300 wives and 700 concubines, and you know, these things are obviously symbolic. You know, they're designed to go together because 3 and 7 equals 10, and they're kind of like holy numbers. You know. Yeah, so I've been wondering about some of this stuff, you know, like this symbology. I mean, is the scriptures like really inspired by God, right? I think it's kind of a trick question. You know, the actual, if you actually read the scriptures, you would see that it doesn't require, that sort of question doesn't require an answer, because you've already got the answers in the scriptures, you know, and I could tell you what that is, but then you wouldn't have to do the thinking and the work, you know, for yourself. That's what I see. It's like, I think it's an important point for me to not actually say what I think the answer is, because I can know it for myself. I've probably spoken about it before in some other videos. So yeah, you know, it's like if anyone's watching this or in the future and wants to think about it, why we don't need answers like to questions like that, then yeah, do feel free to leave a comment, and I'll give you a love heart if I think you've got the right answer. Oh, some other things about doing the work. It's like the music of the spheres. Now, the music of the spheres. How do you describe it? It's like when you feel that you're at a low ebb. Instead of like getting all paranoid, you tune into the music of the spheres, right? And it feels like the universe is bolstering you up. It's like you can practically hear angels singing, you know, and it's like all the noise, all the ambient noise in your environment just becomes like a sort of orchestra, and you know, it's music. It becomes music. Every little bit, the birds making a noise, the seagulls, you know, and the cars going by, other people's music playing in their flats, the little ticks and noises that come from the building where you live, you know, the wind, the rain, the light, the different colors, you know, it all becomes its own. It's all frequency. It's like it's a continual it's like watching a movie. You know, you've got sound and vision and also smell, and also when you tune into this stuff, thinking about it, talking about it, it's helping me tune into it. You see, the smells, you get smells on the astral plane where you can just smell. You suddenly, for no reason, you can smell like fresh mown grass or hay or something, you know, or you know, some smell where there's nothing like it around. You know, you can suddenly smell roses, you know, or leather, you know, or the smell of books or something, you know, or you know, or tar or coal, you know, whatever it is, you know, or toffee apples or cotton candy, you know. They're just some examples. There could be all kinds of examples. Apples, the smell of fresh apples. I can just smell that, just thinking about it. I suddenly smelled the smell of fresh apples, just really clear. It's probably some of this sherry though. Just for a moment, it smelled like fresh apples as I was thinking of it. I mean, your brain has got quite a propensity for hallucinating and making up stuff, you know, and this can, you know, it connects in with your reality map, you know, doing the work, you know, seeing that there's a lot of stuff that's connected with reality that you can have a lot of influence over. Hey, Chelsea, hello. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can have influence over. Your brain is like this, like a natural magician. You know, your brain, like your frontal lobes, your left and right frontal lobes, right? They're like the two sides of Mercury. Mercury being the magician at the top of the tree of life. You know, it's like the two sides of Mercury. You know, and using those things, you've got this. You know, you're a magician. It's like it's not even. You don't even have to try. It's like the Buddhists say. You already have the Buddha nature. It's already there. So it's like you're already, you know, a magus. You're already. This is one of these. This is another thing about doing the work. You know, about becoming the magus. I think it was the magus. It wasn't the top rank. It was the sort of one connected with Mercury and the third sphere. So it's like the third highest rank. You can sort of attain that by doing the work. If you do the work consistently and conscientiously, you ought to attain to that very high status of magus. You know, like so that you become aware that you're actually just like a god. You know, you're a god, just like it says in Psalm 82. You know, I've told you, ye are gods, but you should die like the princes die. Yeah, no, so yeah, hi HLC. Yeah, so it's like I still can't get over it. I still walk down the street and I wear these clothes, you know, like my yellow shirts and like yellow trousers or sort of like what color is this? This is like you can't really see anyway. It's like, but it's almost like yellowy, orangey, sort of sandy color, sandstone color sort of trousers, and it's funny because so many people where I live, they wear blue and black, you know, and it's I know I keep talking about it. I just think it's funny though. It's like how they've got. It seems like people have got no imagination. It's like they've got all. It's not like there's any like real pressure on people to sort of, as far as I can tell, to all wear black and blue. But it just seems like virtually everyone wears black and blue. And I don't mean everyone, but it's like getting on for 80 or 90% of people. You know, I just find it a bit tiresome and a bit weird, and I feel sort of like these people are all ganging up on me subconsciously. I can understand how people can have these like these phobias that, you know, what's it called, gang something, gang something, or I forgot what it is. Anyway, where people, they reckon that everyone's psychically ganging up on them and sort of following around and spying on them, and you know, and like kind of like, you know, that's from sort of a lack of B vitamins. I think, you know, if people haven't got enough B vitamins, they get extra paranoid. You know, I'm not saying it's really happening, but it could be. You know, there's no. The thing is about these things, they could be happening and you might not know about it. But the thing is, statistically, it's unlikely that a lot of people are being like followed around by like FBI spooks and stuff. because there's just probably not enough FBI spooks and there's not enough finances, and it would be just a waste of time following these people around. So it's probably not happening, especially because you can easily explain it through people having a lack of B vitamins in their diet, which a lot of people have got, you know, which tends to make you extremely paranoid and think everyone's turning against you. You know, especially if you've had a difficult childhood as well, you know, which a lot of us have had as well. Also, that's another thing about doing the work, you know, learning about this stuff, learning that you can be extremely paranoid and you can be completely have the completely wrong idea about the world and the way it works, just because you've got, you know, a poor diet, you know. You haven't got the right vitamins to make the sort of, you know, the chemicals that your brain needs to function properly, you know. So you can just not, you know, not have a clue what's going on, and there can be other reasons, you know. I only found out a few years ago that my left and right brains weren't in balance. It was from taking Gotu Kola and Brahmi, these two herbs that you can put, that have been used in Indian Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years, and you put them together and you take them, and it just balances the left and right side of your brain. You just feel so much more like at peace and at one, and just you've got your feet on the ground, you know, and you can just think more think clearly, and you just feel really you know who you are, you know. It's just such a great thing. It was for me anyway. That was my experience. Yeah. Okay. I've talked about those before, but you know, I'd like someone to try these things and like get back to me, because these herbs have been tried for thousands of years. It's not really different buying it online than it is going to your local supermarket and buying some sage and rosemary, you know. Yeah, basically it's the same thing. You just can buy them online. You might, you know, or you can buy extracts, you know. You can just buy the herbs as they are. You know, they taste pretty horrible, but the actual herbs do work better than the extracts generally, I think. You know, just that they're more bulky, and you have to, you know, so you have to use a lot more. They taste horrible, but they work really well. You know, they're well worth taking. Completely can be life changing. I think they'll be life changing for probably, you know, 90% of people that actually have got an open mind and want, you know, and like are trying these things with an open mind. And you know, because the herbs work in a certain way where if you don't believe they're going to work, they probably won't work, you know. If you've got an open mind and you think they can work, they can do miracles, you know. So that's another thing, the way your brain works, you know. You manufacture reality. These, like what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, these maps of reality. If you want to travel from one place to another, you can go without a map, sure, but it's handy to have a map, you know, or a series of different maps, so that you can, you know, you can be more efficient in getting where you want to get to, rather than having to stop and ask people. If you've got a reliable map, then you don't need to stop and ask people. You might need to stop and ask people occasionally to find out exactly where you are, and you can trace it on the map and see where you need to go. These things, you know, they're not 100% like necessary, because there's always the chance that you could just find somebody that's going in the direction, you know, some vehicle that's going in that direction that you want to go in anyway, and get a lift on that, and it takes you where you want to go without you having to look at a map, you know, just because you know, you happen to be with other people that's going in that direction anyway. So there's that kind of thing, you know. So maybe some people aren't very good with maps, you know, and that's the way they need to go. Also, yeah, as I said, there's other types of maps, you know. how people explain what sort of person someone is, what sort of people someone are. This is a quite off topic, I suppose, but I was reading recently about the Native American Indians, right? And I know someone who's like a kind of like someone I met on YouTube, and they've got a Native American, possibly got Native American ancestry from the Choctaw or Choctaw tribe, and they are actually somewhat related to the Flatheads because they had the same practice of getting a bit of wood and like placing it on their child's head after they're born to make their head flat from the nose up to the crown of the head. So it's like this one sort of like flat thing going from, like along the same path as their nose. And it would make their head spread out quite a bit, you know, like it will be flat up like into a cone shape, you know. And obviously they don't do it anymore, you know, obviously. But the guy I was reading, you reckon that, you know, this doesn't cause any real pain to the children and or the people who do have it done to them. They're not any different to other people. It's not like they've got any mental health problems or anything like that. They don't seem to be have any problem with this having been done to them at all. So I think it's really interesting, and you know, I can understand why people stopped it, because I think most people are kind of narrow-minded and they just like don't like anyone to be different. You know, they try to make everyone the same. There's some interesting videos about this. I mean, if anyone's interested, I'll dig some out, you know, and give you some like links. But there are videos about this phenomena, modern phenomena, how people try to get everyone to sort of be the same. You know, it's in history, going back 100 years, it was called conformity, and there were people that were labeling themselves non-conformists. You know, in very many ways, I'm a non-conformist when it comes to the clothes I wear. You know, like for example, I do it all like deliberately. I deliberately wear clothes that are not black and blue, because nearly everybody wears black and blue like it was some kind of uniform, and they're such boring, tedious, like virtually non-colors. You know, and it's not just black and blue, it's grey as well. You know, they're just the most least colorful, the least brightest, the most dark, cold, depthless sort of colors, you know. And so many people wear them. It's like they're just like they're proclaiming that they're like, they think they've got no brain, they've got no imagination. You know, they're virtually dead already. You know, that's what they seem to be proclaiming. So I automatically wear, you know, I just instinctively and deliberately wear bright colors like red and yellow and stuff, you know. And I really notice it. I notice it when I walk around that people look at me like it's affected. Their subconscious is having to work. Oh, what sort of person? This is a person who is not like one of us. You know, it's like that's what they're saying in their subconscious. He's not like one of us. You know, and it's like, well, what are all these people? What are you, us? You know, all you wearing black, this sort of black and blue uniform. What kind of us is there? You know, I don't get it. You know, I mean, this conformity thing. So the thing is, right? The more you can get people to conform, the more they're going to want more people to conform, the more sort of strict the conformity is going to be. And these people can never get people to conform enough. You can never get everyone perfectly the same. There are always going to be people that are not quite as conformed as everyone else, you know. And then what happens traditionally is that those people get wiped out, they get sterilized and stuff, you know. This conformity thing is like, it's a horrible, sick trap. It's really twisted. It's really fucked up. It's sheep-like. These people, you know, have got no conscience about it. You know, if they had any intelligence, they would look at differences, you know, as a good thing rather than a bad thing, you know. That's how nature works, you know. Nature survives through diversity. That's the word, yeah, diversity. Conformity is like a recipe for disaster and extinction. It's like it doesn't work. It's not natural. So one of the ways I deal with it is to think that like these people, they have no imagination. That's what it is. They have no imagination, and they don't see what's happening in front of them. They're not conscious of their surroundings. Okay, on the positive side about it, this I've been noticing, I'm trying to work out at the moment, is that there is this thing where there's a paradise here. You know, when I see people walking around in black, which is a lot of the time, just pure black, there's so many people are just dressed in black, and it's like, what club do they belong to? You know. Anyway, I start thinking of them. I think of them like Beatles because I can't think of them like human beings. I can't think of them as like equals. If people are walking around in these stock colours that everybody's walking around in, like 90% of people are walking around in the most boring, dark, miserable colours, like black and blue, nearly all the time, then I mean, these people, you can't talk to them about this stuff. Can you? Can you talk to them? I don't feel like I can talk to them about it. You know, it's like when I've mentioned people and the colour that the clothes they wear, they're not really aware that it's like it could seem like a problem to someone like me that so many people are wearing black and blue. It's like, unless they're just joking with me, unless they're sort of like making a joke out of me, and it's like it's some obvious thing, and I'm just not seeing it. You know, like I'm some kind of idiot. But I think that's what these people do anyway. It's part of like it's connected with family scapegoating. You know, if anyone's different, you have to make out that they're a bit crazy because they're not like you. You know, but you have to humour them. There's all this sort of clever sort of sociology and psychology going on where, you know, people know how to talk to people in such a way that they're not going to get like a court order against them for being like harassing people. They know how to talk to people in a way that will belittle them without actually you being able to sort of say that they've been like racist or offensive in a derogatory way, or You know, they know how to do it to people just because you've got a different like way of looking at the world, or, you know, or you don't just wear the same like dark uniform clothes that they wear. You know, sometimes I like to think that all these people are like, they think they're in the Matrix, you know, they're sort of wearing black because, you know, they can see through all the bullshit. They've gone into the Matrix mode, you know, they're wearing black, you know, they think that they're like Neo, you know, in the Matrix, or Trinity, you know, or Morpheus maybe. And they're all just sort of like, you know, going through doing the work, you know. But if they're all doing that, shouldn't we be making progress now, you know? Are we making progress? Because I don't really notice if we are. I don't really see it. I still see agents everywhere. People who are all in the Matrix, you know, not hardly anyone's really awake at all. Saturn, you say, HRC. Yeah. Still, I'm not convinced. I mean, what about Saturn? You know, so what? You know, it's like what the Jews are like, their god is Saturn, so they wear black. You know, so that everyone else has got to join the Jews. We've all got to become like Jews or fucking people at a funeral or something. I don't know. You know, it's like people don't really talk. They watch stuff. You know, they watch films, and that's about what they do, isn't it? They just watch films. Do they talk? Does anybody talk anymore? I don't get much results when trying to talk to people. You know, it just doesn't seem to go anywhere, and just whatever I say just seems to fall on deaf ears, and there's no real discussion. Maybe I'm just not mixing with the right crowds. You know, maybe I should go out more. Why don't they know what to say? HRC. Is it too much watching TV? One of the things I don't like about TV nowadays is like and movies is that the scenes change too quickly. That's one of the reasons I make these videos, is because so it's like you can just watch a screen where the scene's not changing all the time. You know, they're not keep switching. You haven't got all this like soundtrack music, you know, and like loads of scenes switching so that, you know, your attention span is just being bombarded, you know, and sort of whittled down, you know. I mean, they used to say that conversation is an art. You know, I think what it is, you know, our school system, it so doesn't deal with conversation. All the conversations in school have already been worked out beforehand. You know, it's like all the conversations have already been worked out beforehand. So there's no spontaneity. It's like you're being like it's like you're a gravel garden, one of those Zen gardens where it's just gravel and they just keep raking the gravel like flat every day, right? So that nothing can grow there. There's nothing natural can happen. It's just totally unnatural. It's raked gravel. It's like a Zen garden, you know. and nothing happens and nothing grows. I mean, I like Zen philosophy, kind of. What you can find of it, which you can't really find any. None of it makes sense to me, but I kind of like it anyway. You know, what's the sound of one hand clapping and that kind of thing? You know. I'm sure there is some way of like finding out what the sound of one hand clapping is. It's like you have to get the sound of two hands clapping, divide it by two, and then you've got it then. So anyway, it's like I walk around with these clothes on, like these like yellow and red clothes, and it's like I'm a different animal. You know, I'm a different insect in the garden. I'm walking. There's all these beetles walking around, and I'm like a sort of like what do you call it? What are those birds? The kingfisher. Yeah, a brightly coloured kingfisher just flying around, catching little fishes. And most of the other people are just like beetles, you know. These people wearing black, I think of them like beetles, like dung beetles. You know, like how you get them beetles and they got like a blue sheen and they're sort of black and they've got like a sheen to them. I think of them like that, you know, just like all like cockroaches, you know, just varying types of beetles. uh, I have to do that to sort of like stay sane because I can't understand why everybody's wearing black. When you've got, there's no, it's not like there's any strict rules or clothes regulations. So there's no need for these people to all wear black and blue, right? There's all these other colors to choose from and all different combinations of colors, you know. There's so many possibilities. There's all these colors, and then the vast majority of people are all wearing black and blue and some gray, you know, and it's just a tiny percentage. It's like a few percent of the actual like area of people deviates from those three colors. It's like, you know, like 1% or less of people actually wearing any real color, you know, other than gray and black and blue. And I just like it seems like it's obviously totally bizarre. You know, these people are seriously fucked up, you know. They've got some serious like depression issues, you know. They've got like serious like they've got suppression. They've got suppressed like hang-ups, you know. They've got the blues, you know. They're feeling grey. They're in the dark, you know. Their colours, the colours that they wear are sort of advertising it, you know, and they don't even see it that it's like there's a problem. They don't even see that that's a warning sign, you know. Which is to me is even more of a warning sign because it's even more means important for me to wear these colours. I have to. It's like I thought just wearing these colours, it's like an antidote to their depression. It's like letting them know that you don't have to be totally like unconscious and like sucked into hell and wear the colors of the Matrix all the time. You know, you can just walk around and wear what colors you want. You know, I remember I used to wear blue and green more, but I just found I got the colors that I like to wear. I still, you know, if I had more money, I'd probably have like nice other more clothes, somewhere to put them as well, like a wardrobe. Funny, I read a lot of fiction, you know, and people in fiction books, you know, people are always wearing different coloured clothes, you know, and interesting clothes and that. But in real life, people are just so incredibly boring. You know, the sort of clothes they wear. I just can't talk to people that wear black. You know, it's too boring. It's like they're already telling me that they've just got no imagination. They're basically dead. There's nobody there. How can you wear black when like 40% of people wear black, you know, and only black? It's just like, you're not a person. You're just a sheep. You're like lost in a big herd of sheep to me. You've got no individuality. You're just a clone, an empty vessel. Ah, dear. See, this is one of the things about doing the work. Oh, it's about talking about this stuff because, you know, to me, I find it potentially quite distressing. And, you know, it's like I have to learn to deal with it. You know, I have to sort of learn to get to a point where, you know, I can deal with this stuff. You know, I can look on the bright side. You know, these people are telling me who they are. They're telling me they're stuck in the matrix. There's no hope for them. So I don't see them as people. I just see them as more like giant insects roaming around. So I think it's important. You know, I don't talk about this stuff because it's just, well, I'm just want to sound interesting. Obviously, people aren't that interested. The reason I talk about it is because it seems like an important part of doing the work. You know, I am the truth. I am the way. None shall get to the kingdom or the Father except through me, i.e. the truth. So if these people, if that's how they act, you know, that's how they behave, that's that, their actions speak louder than words, then that's what they are. And so that's the truth. Or it's most likely the truth, you know. Now, another reason I talk about this is that people that do wear, I don't know if you might wear black and blue, like HRC, but I don't know what other people are like. I mean, I've seen all these foreign kids come over to where I live recently, probably from Germany, on holiday and that. And then hardly any of them are wearing black and blue. They're wearing all different colours, you know, and they're teenagers. But over here, all the teenagers just wear black and blue, you know. So maybe it's not everywhere, you know, or maybe they're in their holiday clothes and their holiday clothes aren't black and blue. But I just get the feeling that it's not everywhere. It's probably like just certain places. I mean, where I live, it's a pretty depressing kind of place, you know. Maybe that's why a lot of people wear black and blue. It's difficult for me to do some research and find out what people wear in other places, you know. Maybe I should do that. I think I might do that, actually. I'm going to quit this video. I'm going to do some research because I've been talking about this a lot lately, and I don't know how this video went according to what I was supposed to be making videos about. Anyway, it's been an hour now. I really should stop the video because I just could go on otherwise and I just end up talking loads of nonsense. Anyway, thanks for watching HRC and anyone else that's watching or will watch in the future. Thanks. Thumb up the video and share my videos with your enemies. Bye.